Northampton is a town built on movement, on boots and factories, on people that came with very little and left something lasting behind. Today, I want to talk about a man who walked these streets, who left something lasting far beyond them, and yet whose name remains hidden from most history books. His name is Walter Tull, and his life poses a dangerous question to each and every person in this room. What might your life look like if you refuse to accept the limits placed on you? Born in 1888 to a Barbadian father and an English mother, Walter was a mixed-race man, living in a Britain where racism and discrimination weren't as hidden as they are today. By the age of 12, both of his parents had died, and he was sent to live in an orphanage. Walter didn't inherit an easy life, but what he would go on to achieve would help unfold the future for many who don't even know his name. In 1909, Walter became one of Britain's very first black professional football players, playing for Tottenham Hotspurs and later Northampton Town. Crowds would hurl abuse at him, opponents targeted him. Newspapers questioned whether someone like Walter deserves to be on the pitch at all. And yet he continued to play. Not loudly, not angrily, but brilliantly. At a time when society was desperate to define his limits, Walter quietly refused to live inside of them. He played 111 games for Northampton Town, and then came 1914. The war reshaped everything. Walter was one of the very first men, among the first group of men, to voluntarily enlist in the British Army. And here the contradiction deepened. Britain would ask him to bleed for the country, to fight, to lead men into danger. But officially, Britain didn't recognize a black man as being capable of leading a white man. That belief was wrong. And because of his bravery and courage on the battlefield, Walter Tull became Britain's very first black combat officer in the military's history, defying the racist rules of the time. But his future was cut short. And on 25th of March, 1918, Walter was killed during the Second Battle of the Somme. His commanding officers wrote a letter to his family at the time, explaining that they recommended him to be awarded the Military Cross, which is the second highest honor you can receive in the military at the time. But he never received it. Some historians debate as to why he didn't receive the award. What do you think? No medals presented to his family, no national recognition. History moved on. How many of you learned Walter Tull's name in school? How often do we say his name alongside the figures we proudly celebrate? The truth is, some stories are inconvenient because they force us to face uncomfortable truths about who was left out through our history and who paid the price for progress. Walter's life cracked open doors that many would later walk through, not because he was celebrated or recognized at the time, but because of the barriers he broke through his accomplishments and the person he was. The theme of today is unfolding futures. Walter never lived to see the future he helped create. But that's often how it works. Futures unfold because someone somewhere chose courage over comfort, dignity over bitterness, and excellence over excuses. Walter didn't wait for permission, he earned it. And in doing so, left us with a very powerful question. What future are you creating right now by the choices you make today? If Walter could lead men in a society that didn't fully recognize his humanity, what does that say about what you're capable of? Your background doesn't disqualify you. Your obstacles don't erase your potential in life, but being passive will. The future doesn't unfold for people who wait. It unfolds for people who decide, for people who take action. Walter was one of the very first professional football players in Britain's history and the very first black British combat officer. And yet he never asked to be remembered, but we owe it to him to remember what he stood for and to allow it to inspire us. Because Northampton's history is still being created. And one day the future will ask us what we did with the opportunities we were given. My hope is that the future says we were brave enough to unfold something better. Thank you.